Welcome back to another reading. Let's talk about this pick a card for just a second. I'm using, as you probably saw from the thumbnail, I'm using 3 decks. The first one is the Osho Zen Tarot. Now, I'm not using reversals with this particular deck. I should say that it is, while it's based in the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot tradition, enough of it veers off track of that I'd call that an oracle / tarot deck, okay? If you want to take a look at the imagery that's on the cards, maybe you'd like to pick any of these card sets based on their imagery specifically, okay? That's the first one, okay? That's your first option. The second option is a very plain spoken system of cards called Lenormand. This is a younger system of cards than tarot, but it can be very blunt and plain spoken. When it comes to getting solid answers as to why you feel like you can't be in romantic relationships for whatever reason that may be, if the imagery in these particular cards resonates you, or if that particular pile, just looking at the thumbnail or looking at the picture that I put up, if that resonates with you, there's a reason why you have picked that, and there may be some solid answers in there for you, okay? My last deck, last but not least, is the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. By the way, the second deck is the 7th Sphere Lenormand from Labyrinthos. You can take a look at its imagery, but this is the imagery that we all associate with. Traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. You already know what this looks like, but still, if you want to compare the imagery with these cards, you should, because some people might resonate with the artwork and not necessarily with just the tops of the decks. So that was the 7th Sphere Lenormand that I just showed you, and here is the Osho Zen. I'm sorry if the Zoom isn't working. I'm not working with the most amazing equipment in the world. What matters is that it works, okay? So you need to pick the pile that resonates with you most. We're about to talk about a really possibly sensitive subject for you. It's about why you can't seem to get into the romantic relationships that you really, really want to be in, okay? So I've got 3 questions. Bear with me. I've got 3 questions that I'm going to answer with 4 cards for each question. My first question for you is my first statement is what you may or may not be facing when it comes to your connection with romantic relationships. What you should or should not do, that's the second question. And the third question, or the third statement, is what Spirit would like to say to you about you and your romantic relationships, okay? So 4 cards for each question, and each of these decks are going to answer them in different ways. Let's go ahead and get started. So group 1, you picked the Osho Zen Tarot. I want to address first what it is. Excuse me, I've got my notes over in the corner of my computer, okay? What you may or may not be facing. It's both. It's what you may be facing, and it may be what you are not facing if you're afraid of something when it comes to you and your connection with romantic relationships, okay? And you may not be afraid. You need to take this as it resonates. So what the Osho Zen is talking to you about is partly to do with healing, genuinely healing from the inside out. Whatever injuries you may have incurred from previous romantic relationships, or from not being in the romantic relationships that you've wanted to be in for a really long time, you're being asked to heal yourself. That is what you're facing, the possibility that you can heal yourself. This is the King of Waters, where the Osho Zen is concerned. And that's about coming into complete mastery of your emotions. You feel them, but you don't allow them to overwhelm you. You know how to name them. You know how to work with them. But again, you don't allow them to overwhelm you. You understand that there's a season for everything. And I say a season with such emphasis because here you have change. There's change coming to you. Life is full of changes. And some things that may have felt like they were impossible ruts to pop out of, understand that things change. And sometimes, especially with this particular card, things change really, really fast. Keep in mind that we are in the age of Pluto in Aquarius, and that may not be relevant to you in particular. But you need to keep in mind that there's still going to be some tremendous changes that may turn out to become personal changes for you. They'll start out on a macro level, possibly, and they'll come down to you. Or you're going to start changing your understanding of the world. I hope that you start to change your understanding of how you look at your mental health, how you look at your emotional health in addition to your mental health, and how you take care of yourself when things are really, really rough, when dreams feel like they can't come true, or they seem like they just don't come true in spite of what you've gone through. This is where you need to heal yourself, as hard as it may be. You're being given this possibility, actually. You're being given this opportunity. And you need to understand that things change in the future. And here you've got the Knight of Fire. This is moving forward with great intensity, great speed, and great absolute focus. With the Knight of Fire, obviously, that's the Knight of Wands in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith system. And that's about also getting into a very deep spiritual practice, expanding if you already have started, definitely expanding what you've already started when it comes to your spiritual practice. You may have chosen to focus more on spiritually expanding yourself. You told yourself, if I can't be in the romantic partnership that I really, really want, then I guess I can pursue other things, such as creativity. It's not just about spirituality that the fire is about. It's also about our creativity. It might be about exploring your sexuality. That's also what what fire's about. It's about what motivates us, what drives us. You have the possibility to move forward with intensity. And here's why I've been saying possibility repeatedly. It literally comes up in this, what you may be facing. You are absolutely facing the opportunity to heal yourself, to move forward with intensity, because the tides are changing and it's time for things to shift for you. The question is, will you choose to heal? Will you choose to shift with the times? Be flexible. This is water and fire energy, deeply, deeply powerful. And this is also major arcana energy with that change. That's traditionally the Wheel of Fortune in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. That's all about timing. That's all about change. That's all about good luck too, okay? The universe is blessing you. It's telling you to hang on tight. Definitely take advantage of some mindfulness practices. You don't need to be a Buddhist or a Hindu to practice mindfulness, okay? You can be of any faith. You can be of no faith at all in order to practice focusing your mind on a sound or on a soundscape or on some music, meditative music, just to give your brain a relief from the constant switch from thought to thought. It's about you becoming the master of your own mind instead of you just being kind of dragged around the world, all around God's green earth by it instead. Anybody can benefit from this, and anybody of any age can benefit from this. If you're looking for some assistance in that department, Not sponsored, and I don't pay for the service, but I like using the app Insight Timer. I find it incredibly helpful to me when I'm meditating, just when I'm using the timer function. But there are other cool things like free classes, free meditation practices that you might like to enjoy, okay? Let's get back to your reading. That was about what you might or might be facing when it comes to you and your connection with romantic relationships. This is a painful topic for you, obviously, if you are in a state where you need healing. But let's talk about what you should and should not do next. These are your next 4 cards with the Osho Zen. This is about completion. What you should do, what you should not do. You shouldn't think that it's over. You shouldn't ice over, if you will, and make it so that you just cry in a corner by yourself. You don't reach out for healing. You just say, this is what it is. It's painful. I'm just going to sit with the tears for a bit. I'm not going to let people see this side of myself. I'm just going to move on. You think that it's over, but it's not. And here's the other thing. You have the World card traditionally. It's completion in the Osho Zen. Things are over, but not in the way that you think that things are over. Once again, change is coming to you, whether you are going to welcome it in, whether you realize that change is coming to you or not. I'm hoping that if you clicked on this video, if you're listening to this message, if you selected this particular deck because it resonated with you, I'm hoping that you're getting the message that you do have change coming and that you do need to not be bracing for it per se, but you need to be mindful that it's on the way and that you need to be aware that things don't always stay the same forever. Sometimes they do. But the only constant is change, is what we like to say, right? In fact, what was I just saying about change is about transformation specifically. Don't resist this transformation. There's the real risk. What you should not do is resist the transformation. Allow the change to happen, even if you really, really struggle with your feelings about how things happened in the past. Don't resist things when they change in the future. I'm saying when, because you have the change card here. And then right across the way, you've got the transformation, death. The death card specifically with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. You've got that now. This is the King of Fire, also known as the King of Wands. But with the Osho Zen, this is about you recognizing yourself as the masterpiece that you were born as. You don't need to do anything extra. You just need to realize that you are a masterpiece, born as you are, flaws included, okay? You are an amazing masterpiece to look at, inside and out. But our culture doesn't teach us to recognize this. Our culture tells us that we need to do this and do that and have that filter and this filter in order to look beautiful to people. This particular deck, your guides, your ancestors, your deities, the universe is using this particular deck to speak to you and say that you are a masterpiece just as you are. If you can fundamentally change the way that you see yourself, not as a broken person who it's just over for. It is what it is. You missed out on some stuff that your friends didn't, and it's just over for you. The universe is saying, au contraire, anything but. It's saying we're moving on to something different, and you can choose to move forward into this new era with intensity and see yourself as the masterpiece as you are. That you don't need to, if the phrase fits, looks maxing. Okay, I understand that's a phrase that a particular group identifies with, but if that's something that you identify with, understand that maxing is an utter lie meant to make you feel worth less than you actually are. That philosophy, if you can call it that, wants you to believe that you are worth less, that you are ugly, when the universe says it's not something that you deserve to believe. It's an utter lie. Why is it a lie? Because they're selling you something, in a sense. Isn't it expensive to look beautiful? Possibly. Maybe you get some free filters, or maybe you get the expensive ones. Maybe you get some more expensive body modifications, for instance. A lot of people do a lot to look beautiful, not just one specific group. A lot of people do a lot to look a specific way because they don't feel beautiful. They don't see themselves as the masterpiece that they are. They measure their own beauty by other people's standards, and other people will always judge you by their own standards. It's just a fucking mess. You need to turn inwards and genuinely see yourself as the person that you are. And that might mean genuinely stepping away, and with that intensity thing, that spiritual path possibility. Maybe this is the perfect time for you to take a spiritual path and recognize that you are worth far more than just the surface level. That there are some beliefs, some myths, some lies that are absolutely destructive to you and to other people as well. Beauty standards, looks maxing, it doesn't matter what gender. Everybody does it to a certain degree. Body checking is part of this too. And it's not just like our bodies. We can be deeply satisfied with who we are fundamentally as people because we're not attracting the romantic partnerships that we've always wanted. When you recognize yourself as the work of art that you were, and all you need to do is recognize that, come into mindfulness, recognize that your ego is all that separates you between yourself and unity with the universe, the source, your deities, your guides, your ancestors, whoever is working with you, whoever you may be working with, for instance. And you may not have discovered your celestial beings yet, let's just say. But they do want you to recognize that you are worth far, far more than this world will ever tell you. The world will tell you that you're fat, that you're ugly, that you're stupid, that you're not worth whatever it is you would like to have in a romantic partnership. Fuck that shit. Fuck that noise. It is lies. And you're going to do yourself a world of good, starting the path of letting that go. Next, let's talk about what Spirit would like to say to you about you and your romantic relationships. This is about appreciating the ordinariness of life. This might be difficult to hear, but this is about appreciating the little things, and that includes daily chores. This particular individual is tending their orchard, tending their garden, and that means finding the pleasure and finding the beauty in even the little things like cleaning your room, making your bed, cooking some food, doing some laundry, literally, actually finding the beauty in the chores. That's going to require you to gradually switch into the mindset where you can appreciate this. It's probably not going to come overnight unless you're already on its doorstep, understanding and appreciating the beauty of laundry, right? What it's asking you to do is to switch into this mindset, to switch into appreciating the little things and celebrating them, okay? This is also about you getting out into nature. Like, I hate to use this phrase because it's kind of been used condescendingly, but the universe is asking you to literally actually get out in nature and touch grass, okay? Please don't misunderstand the phrase. They're asking you to get in touch with stuff that humans have been in touch with for millennia, tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years before we ever stayed indoors all the time, sat in chairs, and looked at glowing screens for hours on hours out of a day. We did not evolve to sit sedentary and look at screens all day. We have to be honest, okay? Even if that's your preference, even if that's kind of low-key my preference on some occasions, we're meant to appreciate the beauty that is found in nature, because that is what our ancestors, frankly speaking, did long before this. Getting away from the communities that have fed you lies about yourself is one of the best things that you can do to heal yourself right now. And gradually you are going to find things, little stuff that you took for granted. You're going to start noticing it on your own. You're just going to start noticing it if you genuinely get into the mindfulness path, genuinely start healing yourself, reaching out for your best and your highest good. And that means choosing to be the best and highest version, choosing the best choices possible, even when they're painful, even when they may be humiliating at points, depending on the people that you hang out with. When you consistently choose the right, highest good choice consistently over time, the universe is going to bless that. Okay? You've got some work cut out for you. You've got 2 more cards too. This is the 6 of Cups, traditionally the Rider-Waite-Smith, but here this is about the dream, and this is about focusing so hard on the kind of life, the dream life that you want, that you miss out on some really cool stuff that you're meant to be celebrating. The universe is sending you some cool things to look at and enjoy, and they're small to you right now. But later on, once you start to turn your attention away from the ideal to what is actually in front of you to enjoy, that's when you're going to start to appreciate life a little bit more genuinely. You might start to see depression and anxiety start to taper off a little bit. You might be able to relax and detach from these toxic beliefs and communities a little bit more easily. And very specifically, you might reach a really important breakthrough that changes how you see yourself, you see the world, how you see people around you. It changes you on a fundamental level, and it causes you to grow into the kind of genuinely badass person. People then get to see you as the masterpiece. You don't just recognize it for yourself. Other people recognize you for the masterpiece that you are. And then, whether you're still into romantic relationships at that point or not, people will be attracted to you. And there's the real possibility that you do find your dream romantic partner. Okay? There's a real possibility. But understand that once you have the breakthrough, that your idea of the dream romantic partner is very likely to radically shift. And I should point out that the dream and transformation land on top of each other when I lay out these cards in their particular spread. Moving towards transforming yourself with great intensity is going to change how you see romantic relationships and possible potential romantic partners. And it's going to change everything. It's going to be a breath of fresh air. It's going to be a relief. It's going to be getting away from the toxicity and being black-pilled about romantic partnerships. And I'm genuinely hoping that this is uplifting for you, that this inspires you to reach for your best and your highest good. And if you continually do that, you're going to magnetize incredible things towards you. It may not be what you expected, and it might be too. Take it as it resonates, okay? You can build an incredible future for yourself, and you deserve to have an incredible future for yourself. It's absolutely possible. It's not over. You didn't fuck up so impossibly bad that it's just over for you now. That's a lie that you deserve to stop believing. I wish you a wonderful spiritual journey. I'm not saying that it won't be difficult at times. I'm saying that it will be. Leaving these communities, leaving these beliefs is going to be a long process, because it's possible that it's taken years for you to get to this particular point. But if you clicked on this video, and if you're listening to this message, if you resonated with these cards, then I'm hoping that this is a turning point for you. Take care of yourself. I hope you start on this spiritual path. Mull it over for a bit, think it over for a bit, and then I hope you get started. You've got a whole bunch of really cool possibilities for you up ahead if you do choose this path. Charge ahead, please, and take care. Thank you for listening. Group number 2. You picked the 7th sphere, Lenormand. You're someone who doesn't mind a blunt message, and I admire that about you. Maybe you're a Scorpio, maybe you're a Capricorn. You don't mind bluntness. Maybe you're a Sagittarius. Take it as it resonates, okay? Maybe you've got some fire, some earth, some air, or I should say some water energy somewhere in your chart. You're a strong person, I feel like. But let's talk about you and romantic relationships. And let's talk about my first statement that I wanted to discuss. What you may or may not be facing. Your first row, you've got love. Surprise. We're talking about romantic relationships, romantic partnerships. And I see you coming into success at some point in the future. Near for some, not as near for others. Take it as it resonates. There is change afoot for a lot of people, and that sounds like it could be you as well, especially if you clicked on this video and you selected Lenormand as your chosen deck, okay? You've got success coming to you in the future, and it's going to be a bright, sunny day in an emotional, spiritual, mental, even physical kind of sense, okay? And it's going to be long term too. I like seeing this card alongside heart, sun. It's going to be in the harbor, so to speak, for a minute. Anchors are meant to keep something in the harbor for a long time. Here's the thing. People are going to be watching you. For whatever reason, your particular success in this particular relationship is just going to have people's eyes on you. Like, they're just going to be like, it's going to be like one of those situations where they can't look away. With this anchor, it suggests to me a great deal of permanence. There just might be something about you and this particular partnership that just works. And people can see it from a mile away that the two of you were meant to be together. And I would say with heart and sun that would be a very, very successful romantic relationship. Makes perfect sense to me, but there's something about this that people just can't help but watch. Possibly be a little bit jealous over. If you believe in warding off the evil eye, this is a good time to possibly explore the options that are most culturally appropriate to you, okay? Or are appropriate to your particular faith, whatever that may be, if you are of a faith. Or if you're of no faith at all, maybe you're the kind of person, just be aware that people are going to be fucking jealous of you and just say, fuck them. Okay? Now here's you. You might identify as feminine. You might identify as non-binary. You might be masculine. But this touches something deeply feminine with you, and I mean in this divine feminine kind of sense. Traditionally, this is the woman card in Lenormand, but this particular 7th sphere Lenormand takes a much more gender-critical approach to the traditional Lenormand, which I find to be very refreshing. So this can appeal to anybody, but specifically it appeals to the divine feminine, the Empress, within us all. We all have our own balances of the divine the divine masculine, the divine feminine. And it's going to look like a very different mixture for everybody, okay? It's just going to look different. But with you specifically, I feel like you're someone who has believed lies specifically about romantic relationships, and I feel like in many ways it's made things very difficult for you, and it's been easier just to isolate yourself, be Rapunzel in the tower, so to speak. But in this case, you don't have Mother Goth, or whatever her name was. Excuse me. I only watched that Tangled once, okay? But you don't have Mother Goth to keep you up in that tower. You're doing this on your own accord because things just got too difficult for you, and you said, fuck it. If it's going to be this shitty, if it's going to be this hard, being in love, having fun on dates, and I don't know, having fun with cool people and having sex, and I don't know, it got too difficult for you. And you said, I give up. I'm not going to touch this anymore. And you've been in this particular state for a long time. Now, here's the thing. I feel like you are just completely naive to some of the things that a lot of your other friends aren't, because you've said no and isolated yourself from romantic relationships for so long that you feel like you're utterly behind the curve. And I should say that it feels like a risk, but the universe is turning this into a reward. This card is for, I think, one, like, I don't know if I remember, it's the German system or the French, it doesn't matter, but for one system or the other, this is about gambling and about risk and about reward. You took a real gamble in choosing to isolate yourself and focus on yourself specifically. This was well-meaning. This was a well-intentioned isolation. This was you saying, if I can't get into a healthy romantic partnership, I'm just not going to fucking date. And now you're feeling like it's cost you because you feel like you're behind the curve, and that might be really tearing you up on some days. The universe is saying you feel like you took a risk, but we're turning it into a reward. Hold on, baby, the best is yet to come. Okay? So that was what you should or should not do. That was your second row that I covered. I'm sorry if I have not explained this very, very well. Your first row was what you may or may not be facing, and that was you facing a relationship that everybody just can't look away from. What you should or should not do, you shouldn't continue to isolate yourself, okay? The universe is saying that, the universe is acknowledging that you probably have done this in the past, and this is something that you need to move on from and not continue to do. You need to recognize that the universe is going to reward your willingness to pay attention to yourself and your highest good, as opposed to continuing to try the same things over and over again, broken things, broken habits that no longer served you in your romantic relationship. That was hard, and the universe recognizes it, and they're here to reward it. People are not going to be able to look away from your romantic relationship once things get really, really started. That Sun card is also about exposure. People like being in, like, it's the Sun King, Leo energy. And I'm noting that I'm recording this around new moon in Leo, by the way. So this might be people just, it's not just family or friends or local community. More people than just those people pay attention, because you're that much of a shining beacon on a hill. You worked hard for this particular moment that you've got coming up for you in this romantic relationship. It's not always going to be like this. Things are changing rapidly for you, and I hope that you're paying attention to the signs and signals and synchronicities that the universe is sending your way, indicating that, hey, you need to be paying attention to this because it's going to be relevant sooner rather than later. A message that Spirit would like to give you about you and romantic relationships. Earlier, I said something about you believing lies when it comes to you and romantic partnerships. You might have grown up with some lies, and for better or for worse, you've chosen to believe them. The universe is asking you to allow it to bring you into some truths when it comes to what your home environment may have fed you about romantic relationships and marriage and children and co-parenting inside of a marriage and all that kind of stuff. When things get rough between you and your partner, there's a whole host of things that your family passed down to you in the form of generational trauma, generational habits even, that you need to work through in order to really grow into your best and your highest good. You're already the kind of person to make the difficult choice to stop dating altogether when you realized that you were going through patterns of behavior in your romantic relationships that was hurting you. You've already made that choice. So I don't think it's out of the realm of the possibility to ask you to choose to dig way deep into how you were raised in romantic relationships and bust myths, bust lies. I've already talked to the first group about how the world feeds us lies about us not being masterpieces at the point that we're born. The world doesn't tell us that you're already a masterpiece as you are, flaws and all. You don't need to do anything in terms of beauty standards, or even another term, looks maxing, in order to make yourself ideal for a romantic partnership. That's a lie that the world has told people of all genders, regardless of where on the gender spectrum they may identify. This is something that everybody consumes, and I would argue that it's gotten even worse with the toxic black-pilled soup that the internet can be sometimes, especially when it comes to people in romantic relationships. Let's face it, this is an incredibly sensitive topic. I appreciate you clicking on this video and being brave, even if it was just you by yourself. For you to click on this video indicates to me that you're willing to admit that things have been difficult for you and that you're looking for something different in the future. That's huge of you, and I think that that's more than a baby step. And I'm wondering if you can take other steps towards digging deep into your childhood and asking, what did my family pass down to me that affects what I believe and in what direction I believe when it comes to romantic partnerships? What lies, what myths harm me and other people too, to be honest? What myths, what lies do I believe that I need to let go of? You're going to need to choose this very deliberately. It's not going to be easy work because Crossroad lands underneath the mountain. But here's the cool thing. This does talk about this being a difficult series of choices that you're going to have to make. But on the other hand, you have sun. This is about you having success. The universe is planning to propel you towards busting these particular myths because it wants to see you bust them. It's encouraging you in this direction because it wants you to see you successful in love. You can do this. It's going to be hard work, but you've already done hard work in the past. If you know that you're going to have an incredible romantic relationship that's permanent, very long term at the very least, right here, if you knew that that was happening, that was coming towards you fast, what would you choose to do now? To do work on yourself to get ready for that person to come in and get serious with you. And for you to know that this is someone that you need to be getting serious with. Okay? It sounds like you've got an exciting adventure coming up. I wish you the best of luck. I wish you fun times. What's that? The Sisterhood of... Oh, it's going to come to me now. It's going to come... But something that they used to say. It's an LGBT group that started out in San Francisco. Go forth and send some more if that resonates. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Group 3, you picked the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, and I am using reversals with this particular spread. It indicates where there's stuck energy or there's alternative energy from the upright position, okay? We'll discuss what that means potentially for each card in just a bit. We're going to kick off with divine balance first. The need for things to come back into moderation. Things need to chill out with this particular sense. But there's also a need for combining the experience that you may have gotten from the past and experience advice that you might be getting in the present, okay? There's something that needs to be synthesized here in order to help you navigate your connection with romantic relationships. I feel like this is a deeply difficult conversation for you to have. I feel like you get resentful. I feel like you are bitter about romantic partnerships. And I feel like it's really easy for you to snap at other people when they talk about their successes in their romantic partnerships. And that might be part of what's going on here, is that you need to pull back and look at things from a more objective angle. Taking a poverty mindset towards romantic partnerships is not the way to go. It's thinking that there's nobody ever for me. There's no such thing as a romantic relationship for me. I'm never going to be in something, and just kind of going in circles about it. But it's also about being deeply negative towards others, even if they offer well-meaning advice, even if they try to set you up, possibly, or you just look at people with their successes and their relationships and you wonder why that isn't you. You stay stuck in your bitterness and you kind of run in circles. You're basically running yourself into a rut with your resentment towards other people and their romantic partnerships. The universe is saying you need to chill out and you need to take several steps back and you need to hang out with these feelings for just a bit. Instead of looking outwards, you need to look inwards for just a minute, and you need to genuinely ask and genuinely respond. Where are these feelings coming from? Why are you feeling this particular way? It's going to be hard to genuinely answer those questions, honestly, completely, even when it's just yourself. No one else is paying attention, and you don't have to talk about this with anyone to begin with. But it's still, I feel like, an embarrassing, even a humiliating process for you to admit to yourself where these feelings about you in romantic relationships are coming from, okay? By the way, we're talking about what you may or may not be facing with this first particular row. You are facing a request from the universe, a strong request from the universe to bring balance to your beliefs and how intense they've gotten, how bitterly intense that they've gotten about romantic relationships. Specifically, you are standing in your own way because you are so deeply unhappy about things that you should be grateful for. You don't notice all the things that are in your court. This particular individual has all kinds of cups lined up behind him, but he has his back to them. I don't think that you recognize what all cool things you do have as part of yourself, just as part of your personality, in addition to any talents that you may have. You don't see yourself for who you genuinely are. You don't see yourself for what you have, what you can offer other people either. You are your own worst enemy when it comes to how you think of romantic partnerships and your connection to them. This is hard work for you to do, but I hope that you can manage to do this. You do deserve to have better, but you're standing in your own way is the problem. My next area that I want to explore with you is what you should or should not do when it comes to you changing things, when it comes to you and your connection with romantic partnerships. First of all, you need to end an era. I feel like you're resisting the end of an era. The universe has been asking you to bring balance to how you perceive romantic relationships now for a hot minute, but you've been ignoring signs, signals, and synchronicities from the universe to bring that to an end. There also may be some opportunities that you've avoided in the past because you were just you preferred to stay hell-bent on the rut of bitterness that you've gotten over the years when it comes to you and your romantic partnerships, okay? I understand that this is a difficult conversation to have. You've become quite passive-aggressive with other people, and other people don't know why you pick fights with them. And that's because you resist them. There's some kind of aura about you that just feels like it's ready to get into a fight at the drop of a hat. And that's coming from you. You're resisting the end of an era. You're resisting the universe's attempts to bring you into balance in a way to heal you, to heal the wounds, because this is coming from a deeply wounded place, okay? It might be helpful to look at your Chiron in your astrological birth chart. There may be some woundedness there that is relevant. You might have your Chiron in Venus, and that would be a really difficult transit for someone like this to have. All of this energy is coming from a deeply wounded place that you haven't been picked, that people don't see you as attractive, intelligent, having it all, or whatever it may be. The universe is saying that you do have the things that would be cool to bring into a romantic relationship, but you're not in that mindset. And you haven't started to get out of this rut, this poverty mindset that you have towards romantic relationships. You don't need to be in this context. You are your own worst enemy. You want to stay in this context. The universe genuinely wants you to leave it, okay? Every time someone gets married, you get very hurt. You get very, very hurt. It's hard not to, it's easy to crawl into your hole and just avoid everything possible when it comes to do with weddings. The Four of Wands is my wedding card. This is you just feeling incredibly defensive. And it comes, again, from a deep place of woundedness. You can't stop feeling defensive even when no one's attacking you. And it might be that when you get wedding invitations to friends, to family, you can't go. Or if you do go, it's a real struggle for you to feel any kind of happiness. You might just be sitting in the corner, angry, irritated, annoyed with how happy people are at this particular wedding. You can't stand it. You are blocking your own way. You do have the potential in the future to get married. You do in the future. You are standing in your own way. You are your own worst enemy. You're standing in the way of your own healing. You're lashing out at people, even passive aggressively, even like low-key lashing out, even if it's not high-key. You're lashing out because you're acting from a place of woundedness. The universe wants to move you out of that context, but it can't necessarily force this. You need to move that train along. Here's the Two of Cups. It's in reverse. For some reason, there's something that you believe about romantic relationships. It's transactional, is what I'm getting from Spirit. You have transactional beliefs that are irrelevant, that are obsolete, that are childish even, that are immature, that are one-dimensional, that no longer serve you. Those are beliefs that you carry around about romantic relationships that keep you from getting into a genuine partnership where you vibe on all levels with somebody, and they do exist. You might have to work on yourself and watch and wait for that person for a while. But if you clicked on this video, if this deck resonated with you, then there's something about this that you need to clear up in order to welcome in a context where you can build a genuinely happy family that has a strong foundation for the future. You can do this, but first you need to clean up your beliefs that may have to do with your beliefs, false beliefs about the transactional nature of romantic relationships. They get me this, I give them this, I take, I receive this. It's about much more than that. It's about finding a genuine connection, a genuine partnership where you just love to be around this person as much as possible. And there's more to it than that, obviously. But you're not there yet. You see them as transactional. And I don't know necessarily that you enjoy being around women genuinely. I wonder if you don't struggle to see them as objects, there to have sex with, make babies, clean the house, cook the food, and that's it. You don't see them as people, friends. You might struggle to see women or the opposite sex as potential friends, partners in life. And you might struggle to be around successful women, successful single women too, because they show confidence. They can show confidence. They can show stability. And it makes you incredibly jealous. This lands on top of the Seven of Wands in reverse, that deeply defensive when no one's attacking you. This is paranoia. You're paranoid around other women. Now, this is interesting. Above the Seven of Wands, you've got the Nine of Cups. It's in reverse. These are two opposite successful people. You don't see yourself as someone who has a lot in your corner. Instead, you are deeply paranoid about how other people see you. You attack ruthlessly for no reason at all, and people don't understand why you're striking out the way that you do. Women don't understand why you strike out the way that you do. But smart women, smart people who you may be attracted to, see your lack of confidence, see your passive aggressiveness, and they stay away. I understand and acknowledge that this might be difficult to hear. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve to grow from this particular message. Once you see more clearly how afraid you are of stable, successful people who you're attracted to, I'm hoping that it'll be more easy to make a clear choice. But right now, you're confused on how to move forward because you are your own worst enemy, because you act out of a place of woundedness, because you possibly villainize people that you're attracted to because they're successful, because they're confident, because they're stable, and because you don't have that. You're working out of a place of woundedness. You might have your Chiron, your wounded planet, in a place where it works on how you perceive yourself in light of how you think the world sees you. That might be where your wounded nature comes from, and that might be something that infects how you operate in your romantic partnerships. I once again acknowledge that this was likely difficult to hear, but I hope that you choose to grow in spite of what you heard. I hope you choose to grow because of what you heard. This is going to be hard work. This is going to be long-term hard work. But this is work worth doing. I wish you the best of luck. I hope that you do get married into the family that you deserve. I hope that you get the partner that you deserve. And I hope that you reach towards your best and your highest good first before you get into that kind of relationship. Your future partner and any children that you might want to have with them depend on that. Thank you for watching to this point. If you did, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.